In this video, we are going to work with the tables. As in the introduction I told you, like database is the collection of various database objects and table is one of them. Basically, table is the most important part of the database as it does the major role of the database, that is storing the data. So first of all, we'll start working with the tables, we'll start storing some data, and then later we can go for some more objects, but in the beginning for now, we will work with tables only. So in the previous video, we have just gave a look to the data definition language, and create is one of them. So in this video, we'll work with the how to create a table. So if I talk about table, so you can classify a table into two parts, that is the data dictionary and user tables. Data dictionary is basically something which stores the metadata, means the core information of any Oracle database will be stored in the data dictionary. These are the system tables, you can say. And the tables on which we are going to work is the user table. So basically any user which has the permission to create a table will be able to create the user table. We cannot do any changes in the data dictionary. So basically while creating a user table, or I should say tables only, you must give a valid table name. When I say valid table name, that means there should not be space in the table name. The name must begin with the alphabet. No special character or no number should be there in the beginning of a table. Similarly, if there is any keyword in the Oracle database, you should not use that keyword as a name of a table. User must have a create table permission and storage area. When you create a user, apart from the admin, it doesn't have any privilege. So any admin should give the privilege of create table along with the storage area, that is the table space. So where a user can create a table. If there are n number of users in a database, each and every user would be having its own schema. So doesn't matter whichever user is creating a table, basically it will be created in that user schema only. For example, I am Anadi, and if I am creating a table in my schema, so that will be accessed by some other user with anadi.table name, the schema name dot table name. But being Anadi, I can directly access my table because it is only in my schema. When you create a table, you name a number of columns inside that along with the data types. For example, if I am creating the employee table, there will be employee ID with a particular data type, means the type of data I want to store. Similarly, first name, data type again. So you will have to pass the number of columns which you want to create in a table, but the default value would be passed by using the default keyword if you want to store some default value. For example, if there is a column called date of joining in my table and I want that a default value of today's date should be there even if user is not entering anything, so I can specify that as well using the default keyword. So now let's go to the system and see how can we start working with the creation of a table. Now for starting the create table statement, first of all I'll have to connect as an admin user or any user who has the create table privilege along with the table space allocation. So currently my user is sys, because so far we have not covered how to create a user, so we will continue with this particular user itself. Now here I am good enough to start with the create table command. So let's start with a very basic one, like I'll say create table, and after that you can put a table name like such as employees. Alright, and after that you can just pass the list of all the columns which you want to create with this create table employees. Now opening the parenthesis and closing it, in between this you can pass the number of columns. So let's separate them a bit. Alright, so I'm just separating the whole command in a separate lines just to enhance the readability. So first of all I will have to pass a column name, So the column name is, let's say, emp id. Alright, and here I'll pass the data type such as number. So it is the employee ID which will only take a numeric value by the time we will start entering the data. Now separating it with a comma, you can pass another column name. Let's say first name, and here I will say varchar2, and after varchar2, which is the character data type, variant character data type means if you are allocating it for 20 characters and I enter something lesser than that, let's say anadi, so out of that 15 spaces will be released, means the 15 character space will be released, it will not block that. So let's say it's the first name. Similarly, let's put one more column, let's say last name varchar2 20, email id varchar2 again, let's put 50 or anything. Alright, after this you can pass something like gender. I want to get only a single value in the gender, either M or F. So for this, when the input character strings are fixed, I can go for char as well, because char is a fixed size character space. If you will allocate 10 spaces for something and you enter 5 characters only, even though it will consume the complete 10 character space, because in the remaining space it will simply store the spaces. So in the fields like contact number or mobile number also, I will prefer the char when I am sure like the character strings or the length of a string is same or consistent. Now let's add another column here with the name, date of joining, and here I'll pass the data type as date. So whenever you will enter something, it must be of the date format. Now after that, you can also go for the default value. Every column has a default value which is null by default. If you want to change that default value, you can come here with the keyword called default, and here you can specify any default value with an expression. Make sure you are not using another column name in this default expression. So here I'll say like sysdate. Sysdate here is a function which returns the current date of the system. Similarly, let's go for something like mobile number is already done. Alright, so let's take one more column here. Just say that is department ID, and here again I will enter the ID of that department, which would be in the integer format. So once you are done with all the columns, just close the parenthesis which you have opened in the beginning and terminate the statement with the semicolon. So as soon as you will press enter, you see table is created. Now once you have created this table, and if later you want to see the structure of that particular table, you can go for the describe command. Describe, or in short you can write DESC, and after that you can simply say employees, means whatever table name you're talking about, and it will show you the structure of that particular table. This describe command is also applicable for the data dictionary. So whenever you want to query any data dictionary, you can come here and can check the structure of that data dictionary. So this is how you can start creating the tables using the admin accounts like sys or system in your Oracle database.